Section 63 of Gray's Anatomy, Part 4. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recorded by Laurie Ann Walden. Anatomy of the Human Body, Part 4, by Henry Gray. The Common Integument, Part 2. The appendages of the skin. The appendages of the skin are the nails, the hairs, and the sudoriferous and sebaceous glands with their ducts. The nails, ungues, are flattened elastic structures of a horny texture, placed upon the dorsal surfaces of the terminal phalanges of the fingers and toes. Each nail is convex on its outer surface, concave within, and is implanted by a portion, called the root, into a groove in the skin. The exposed portion is called the body, and the distal extremity the free edge. The nail is firmly adherent to the corium, being accurately molded upon its surface. The part beneath the body and root of the nail is called the nail matrix, because from it the nail is produced. Under the greater part of the body of the nail, the matrix is thick and raised into a series of longitudinal ridges, which are very vascular, and the color is seen through the transparent tissue. Near the root of the nail the papillae are smaller, less vascular, and have no regular arrangement, and here the tissue of the nail is not firmly adherent to the connective tissue stratum, but only in contact with it. Hence this portion is of a whiter color, and is called the lunula on account of its shape. The cuticle, as it passes forward on the dorsal surface of the finger or toe, is attached to the surface of the nail a little in advance of its root. At the extremity of the finger it is connected with the under surface of the nail a little behind its free edge. The cuticle and the horny substance of the nail, both epidermic structures, are thus directly continuous with each other. The superficial horny part of the nail consists of a greatly thickened stratum lucidum, the stratum corneum forming merely the thin cuticular fold, eponychium, which overlaps the lunula. The deeper part consists of the stratum mucosum. The cells in contact with the papillae of the matrix are columnar in form, and arranged perpendicularly to the surface. Those which succeed them are of a rounded or polygonal form, the more superficial ones becoming broad, thin, and flattened, and so closely packed as to make the limits of the cells very indistinct. The nails grow in length by the proliferation of the cells of the stratum mucosum at the root of the nail, and in thickness from that part of the stratum mucosum which underlies the lunula. Hairs, pillae, are found on nearly every part of the surface of the body, but are absent from the palms of the hands, the soles of the feet, the dorsal surfaces of the terminal phalanges, the glans penis, the inner surface of the prepuce, and the inner surfaces of the labia. They vary much in length, thickness, and color in different parts of the body, and in different races of mankind. In some parts, as in the skin of the eyelids, they are so short as not to project beyond the follicles containing them. In others, as upon the scalp, they are of considerable length. Again, in other parts, as the eyelashes, the hairs of the pubic region, and the whiskers and beard, they are remarkable for their thickness. Straight hairs are stronger than curly hairs, and present on transverse section a cylindrical or oval outline. Curly hairs, on the other hand, are flattened. A hair consists of a root, the part implanted in the skin, and a shaft or scapus, the portion projecting from the surface. The root of the hair, radix pili, ends in an enlargement, the hair bulb, which is whiter in color and softer in texture than the shaft, and is lodged in a follicular involution of the epidermis called the hair follicle. When the hair is of considerable length, the follicle extends into the subcutaneous cellular tissue. The hair follicle commences on the surface of the skin with a funnel-shaped opening, and passes inward in an oblique or curved direction, the latter in curly hairs, to become dilated at its deep extremity, where it corresponds with the hair bulb. Opening into the follicle, near its free extremity, are the ducts of one or more sebaceous glands. At the bottom of each hair follicle is a small, conical, vascular eminence or papilla, similar in every respect to those found upon the surface of the skin. It is continuous with the dermic layer of the follicle, and is supplied with nerve fibrils. The hair follicle consists of two coats, an outer or dermic, and an inner or epidermic. The outer or dermic coat is formed mainly of fibrous tissue, It is continuous with the corium, is highly vascular, and supplied by numerous minute nervous filaments. It consists of 3 layers. The most internal is a hyaline basement membrane, which is well marked in the larger hair follicles, but is not very distinct in the follicles of minute hairs. It is limited to the deeper part of the follicle. Outside this is a compact layer of fibers and spindle-shaped cells arranged circularly around the follicle. This layer extends from the bottom of the follicle as high as the entrance of the ducts of the sebaceous glands. Externally is a thick layer of connective tissue arranged in longitudinal bundles, forming a more open texture and corresponding to the reticular part of the corium. In this are contained the blood vessels and nerves. The inner or epidermic coat is closely adherent to the root of the hair, and consists of 2 strata named respectively the outer and inner root sheaths. The former of these corresponds with the stratum mucosum of the epidermis, and resembles it in the rounded form and soft character of its cells. At the bottom of the hair follicle these cells become continuous with those of the root of the hair. The inner root sheath consists of 1. A delicate cuticle next the hair, composed of a single layer of imbricated scales with atrophied nuclei. 2. 1 or 2 layers of horny, flattened, nucleated cells, known as Huxley's layer. And 3. A single layer of cubical cells with clear flattened nuclei, called Henle's layer. The hair bulb is molded over the papilla and composed of polyhedral epithelial cells, which as they pass upward into the root of the hair become elongated and spindle-shaped, except some in the center which remain polyhedral. Some of these latter cells contain pigment granules which give rise to the color of the hair. It occasionally happens that these pigment granules completely fill the cells in the center of the bulb. This gives rise to the dark tract of pigment often found, of greater or less length, in the axis of the hair. The shaft of the hair, scapus pili, consists, from within outward, of 3 parts, the medulla, the cortex, and the cuticle. The medulla is usually wanting in the fine hairs covering the surface of the body, and commonly in those of the head. It is more opaque and deeper colored than the cortex when viewed by transmitted light, but when viewed by reflected light it is white. It is composed of rows of polyhedral cells containing granules of elidin and frequently air spaces. The cortex constitutes the chief part of the shaft. Its cells are elongated and united to form flattened fusiform fibers, which contain pigment granules in dark hair and air in white hair. The cuticle consists of a single layer of flat scales which overlap one another from below upward. Connected with the hair follicles are minute bundles of involuntary muscular fibers, termed the arrectores pilorum. They arise from the superficial layer of the corium, and are inserted into the hair follicle, below the entrance of the duct of the sebaceous gland. They are placed on the side toward which the hair slopes, and by their action diminish the obliquity of the follicle, and elevate the hair. The sebaceous gland is situated in the angle which the arrector muscle forms with the superficial portion of the hair follicle, and contraction of the muscle thus tends to squeeze the sebaceous secretion out from the duct of the gland. The sebaceous glands, glandulae sebaceae, are small, sacculated, glandular organs, lodged in the substance of the corium. They are found in most parts of the skin, but are especially abundant in the scalp and face. They are also very numerous around the apertures of the anus, nose, mouth, and external ear, but are wanting in the palms of the hands and soles of the feet. Each gland consists of a single duct, more or less capacious, which emerges from a cluster of oval or flask-shaped alveoli, which vary from 2 to 5 in number, but in some instances there may be as many as 20. Each alveolus is composed of a transparent basement membrane enclosing a number of epithelial cells. The outer or marginal cells are small and polyhedral, and are continuous with the cells lining the duct. The remainder of the alveolus is filled with larger cells containing fat, except in the center, where the cells have become broken up, leaving a cavity filled with their debris and a mass of fatty matter, which constitutes the sebum cutaneum. The ducts open most frequently into the hair follicles, but occasionally upon the general surface, as in the labia minora and the free margin of the lips. On the nose and face the glands are of large size, distinctly lobulated, and often become much enlarged from the accumulation of pent-up secretion. The tarsal glands of the eyelids are elongated sebaceous glands with numerous lateral diverticula. The sudoriferous or sweat glands (glandulae sudoriferae) are found in almost every part of the skin, and are situated in small pits on the under surface of the corium, or, more frequently, in the subcutaneous areolar tissue, surrounded by a quantity of adipose tissue. Each consists of a single tube, the deep part of which is rolled into an oval or spherical ball, named the body of the gland, while the superficial part, or duct, traverses the corium and cuticle and opens on the surface of the skin by a funnel-shaped aperture. In the superficial layers of the corium the duct is straight, but in the deeper layers it is convoluted or even twisted. Where the epidermis is thick, as in the palms of the hands and soles of the feet, the part of the duct which passes through it is spirally coiled. The size of the glands varies. They are especially large in those regions where the amount of perspiration is great, as in the axillæ, where they form a thin, mammillated layer of a reddish color, which corresponds exactly to the situation of the hair in this region. They are large also in the groin. Their number varies. They are very plentiful on the palms of the hands and on the soles of the feet, where the orifices of the ducts are exceedingly regular, and open on the curved ridges. They are least numerous in the neck and back. On the palm there are about 370 per square centimeter, on the back of the hand about 200, forehead 175, breast, abdomen, and forearm 155, and on the leg and back from 60 to 80 per square centimeter. Krause estimates the total number at about 2,000,000. The average number of sweat glands per square centimeter of skin area in various races as shown by the fingers is as follows: American, white, 558.2; American, negro, 597.2; Filipino, 653.6; Moro, 684.4; Negrito, adult, 709.2; Hindu, 738.2; Negrito, youth, 950. They are absent in the deeper portion of the external auditory meatus, the prepuce, and the glans penis. The tube, both in the body of the gland and in the duct, consists of two layers, an outer, of fine areolar tissue, and an inner, of epithelium. The outer layer is thin, and is continuous with the superficial stratum of the corium. In the body of the gland the epithelium consists of a single layer of cubical cells, between the deep ends of which and the basement membrane is a layer of longitudinally or obliquely arranged non-striped muscular fibers. The ducts are destitute of muscular fibers, and are composed of a basement membrane lined by 2 or 3 layers of polyhedral cells. The lumen of the duct is coated by a thin cuticle. When the cuticle is carefully removed from the surface of the corium, the ducts may be drawn out in the form of short thread-like processes on its under surface. The ceruminous glands of the external acoustic meatus and the ciliary glands at the margin of the eyelids are modified sudoriferous glands. End of Section 63. End of Anatomy of the Human Body, Part 4, by Henry Gray.